Hey, it's Andrea, Bipolar Phoenix show here. Just wanting to add on to my book characters, or not characters, but people who are in the book. So the book came out in October. Yay, finally. October 10th, World Mental Health Day. Hope you've gotten a copy. If not, they're on Amazon.com. Or the books are on Amazon.com, very easy. Kindle or paperback format. So it's going pretty well. I haven't done a ton of promotion, but I wanted to get on with some of the people who are actually in the book. And I want to talk to a very special, important, pivotal person in my book, is someone who's been with me my whole life. And she's got a lot of quotes in the book about, this is my sister, my little sister. She's not little. She's taller than me. She's bigger than me, taller than me. And, but I still call her my little sister. So my sister, Patty Grant. Hi, Pat. She goes by Kenna, but
hi, everybody.
Call her Patty. Hello.
What's up?
Coming in live from Hartford, Connecticut.
Yes, it's stormy here, so if you hear loud noises, it's rain.
and actually, I want to mention my lip gloss, and Patty's had some of this lipstick from Scepter Cosmetics, has a new Power Glass lip gloss out. My friend Samina Malik, the founder of Scepter Cosmetics, a sole founder, women-owned business, women-invested business, and this is another color. It's pretty cool. So Patty, I'll have to send you some of these. They're moisturizing. They're not just color. They're moisturizing. It's like a tinted moisturizer, but they're very, very cool. So there's also the basic color too. So I had to get that in there.
That you have on. I like that.
Yeah, this is the other ones are a little more muted, a little more nude colors. They're very good too.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to bipolar. So Patty, or Kenna, if I can get used to calling you that.
Yeah.
Kenna served as the family member who was quoted in the book. And that was hard for me because I feel like I was an asshole to a lot of people, and definitely sometimes to my family. And it must have been really hard to watch me spiral and crash and burn and crash and burn and over and over, making really bad decisions. And I know that they have comments about that. So Kenna, can I ask, you can read the book if you want to hear all the things that she says, but here's a little bonus. Kenna, what do you remember the most about me being diagnosed bipolar, me having bipolar episodes? What do you remember the most? What episodes, or what character traits?
A lot. Well, a lot. But to be honest, like the very beginning, I think growing up in the house, right? And not like understanding the intricacies of what would be considered your episodes, right? What we would call that now. But it just seemed to be this like roller coaster. It'd be like 1 minute you're totally fine, and the next minute something could happen and send you totally the other way. And it was like a roller coaster ride for so long. And I remember specifically feeling sometimes that, you know, that walking on eggshells feeling, you didn't know how to really approach. And I don't know, we've always been close, but I think sometimes when you were feeling in those lows, which I would call them, it was hard. It was just hard. And, you know, I think back then, like at the time, right, nobody really knew what was going on. And then as it kind of emerged over the years, it became, well, wait a minute, I think this is something a little bit more serious here. And honestly, sometimes it was very hard, like a helpless feeling, to be really honest. Because, you know, besides talking to you and observing, it was sometimes hard to like confront you on shit just because you would be defensive and get upset. But I mean, I think it's different now because I think there's been a lot of healing there. But it was definitely hard. And it sometimes became that's just how Anne is. Like, you just gotta, you know, it's just the way it is. And I'm like, nah, like, I'm not okay with that. Like, that's not okay with me. So I think as we grew as women and understood for you, understanding the intricacies of what the diagnosis was and how to manage and live with it and maintenance. For me, like as your sister, it became, just an altruistic understanding of the disorder and also really being honest with you. So I just I would say the thing that stands out the most is just you never knew how it was going to go. And then when it went one way, you couldn't, like, you could try to kind of scale it back and talk to you, but it didn't matter, because once you had your mind made up about something, that was it.
Yeah.
So it's challenging sometimes. And, I always want to talk things out and reason. And I think everyone has a different communication style, but.
And mine was the bipolar communication style. Wasn't that
well,
easy?
Yeah. And sometimes you were very defined, final. Yeah. And I couldn't stand that. I'm like, nah. You gotta, I'm your sister. You gotta, what's going on here? You can't just do that. I always used to say that. I'm like, you can't do that. You can't do that.
I know growing up, and I do say this in the book, that not just my sisters, but because, both my sisters, Pat Kenna and my other sister, they all faced challenges that everybody does, but I kept wondering, how are they so resilient? I mean, why am I so different? I'm trying to cry because, I didn't understand, I didn't understand why it was so hard for me, and why couldn't I be as strong as you guys?
I think that it's, first of all, for me, in my own journey, it's understanding the neurochemical components that go into the disease of mental illness. And I think growing up in the 80s was a hot mess. Can we just say that? A hot mess. And
I said that in my book, and people were like, what do you mean? I'm like, oh my God.
What's super fun? But it was also a hot mess if you had a learning disability, a mental health issue, anything that was not mainstream. And I guess you could say that today, but I think there's a lot more acceptance. There's still a super stigma. For example, when you talk about someone, oh, they're mentally ill. You don't talk about someone ooh, they're diabetic, Yeah. That's the stigma that's hard with mental illness. But I think that the resilience piece is a lot of work, Anne. It just took a lot of work and therapy on my own, and understanding triggers and, being in an environment where I felt like it was chaotic. And where our older sister, she'd just dip out. She would just peace out and run, not run, but she could leave. She was older. She had a car. I was just in the house.
Yeah, you're talking when we were younger. Yeah.
Yeah, we were younger, but
actually when we were older is kind of what I was referring to, which was, and you kind of mentioned that you worked through it, but when we were older, and I was like, damn, how are they managing that?
Honestly,
and you guys were really
behavioral therapy, CBT, seriously. And
I did CBT because it's really good for suicidal. Very good. And I used to do that and literally tick off how many times a day I thought about suicide. I mean, it was helpful.
I know. And that's what I said earlier, the helpless feeling for you, because I couldn't take that away from you. And I wish I could. Yeah. And I understand it. And I think the resiliency piece, it's so hard to get there and to understand why, if you grew up a people pleaser or someone who constantly, why though? So I think it's also understanding and surrounding yourself with people in your circle, your world, that kind of can call you out in your shit.
Yeah.
Understand, be honest and frank with you. But resiliency is a really, I think, it's a good character trait to have with kids.
Well, right. And I think though that, and I still work on this. I mean, you can work on it, you can get better. And I think that's kind of one of the messages with Bipolar Phoenix, and also with life, talking about mental health, is that, hey, if you work on this stuff, you can
Yeah.
get better.
And that's what I
You
love
don't
about
have
your book,
to
and to
be
be
like
like
not a
to be
life sentence of hell, you know.
exactly. And I love that that emerges in your book. Like that's a very central theme that I loved reading in the book,
Yeah.
because I think there's such a like it's part of you, but it's not defining you. Like you're funny, you're artistic, you're an amazing writer, you're, you know, sassy, like all those things, you know. So I don't know. And I think that speaks to kind of destigmatizing
Yeah.
mental health issues too.
Yeah.
But
I
it's
mean,
work, like you said, it said work, boo. And you've worked really hard.
there were some
I
effed
can
up
see that, you
decisions.
know, I see that. I see that. I can,
Mhm.
I, that comes through. I see it, the work that you've done and our
Uh,
relationship too. So,
yeah, well, yeah. I mean, that's always going to be lifelong, I hope, with everybody, but especially with my sister, you, and my other sister and mom and stuff. So you kind of segued into my next question, which is, you know, when I was better or getting better, what was it like for you? Like, what did you see, and what did you think was helpful?
accountability.
Mm.
I saw accountability, like straight up. And you would say, I recognize that this might not be useful, but it's how I feel. Like you were, it helped from the receiving end to hear from you that you recognized that what you were feeling may not be reasonable, and that
Mm.
you'd like to talk about it another time, you know, and it helps you, it helps the receiver, me, understand. So I'm just like, whatever, yo, like, so I'm just not pissed. And I think that
Yeah.
that was really, I can say with 100% certainty, one of the biggest things I saw with
Mhm.
you. And just like emerging strength, you know, like the resiliency that you talk about.
Mhm. I still work on that. I want to go back into the book a little bit and talk about my favorite little character who had, I think, one of the best chapters, at least most of it, was Loki. And
Who's your
actually,
favorite Loki?
Patty's husband is the one who found Loki.
I
So
know.
can you talk a little bit about Loki and maybe how you saw him fitting into my recovery?
So I remember when we got word that somebody left
The dog.
abandoned dog on the property, and I was like, maybe my sister would want a dog. And I remember at the time I was really like working at the university where I am, like pet therapy and how animals can help was kind of like an emerging, right?
Mhm.
And I remember even Greg said, he's like, maybe your sister will want the dog. Maybe it will help her. And I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, let's ask.
Yeah.
And, you know, we were able to stabilize the dog until you could come see him. And that
Mhm.
was it. So
Yeah.
I think that was a really important turning point for you too. Like it really, I think that Loki helped you in so many ways.
Yeah. He was a
So
good dog.
and
We
it was
miss
just
him.
like, it felt like, wow, like, yeah, this is supposed to happen. You know,
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
believe that things exactly happen as they're supposed to.
Mhm.
So he was good
Um,
for you.
yeah, we love Loki, and I hope those of you who've read the book have enjoyed the story of Loki, which is also the transition to Chris, from Loki to Chris, which is really special,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
also, you know, maybe it's a good explanation, and maybe how that might help someone you know or yourself with a mental illness, not just
Mhm.
bipolar disorder. So I was going to segue, actually. Oh no. Oh yeah. The next segue, star swipe
Every time you say
into.
that, I think of the actual Segway, like that people
Yeah.
ride.
Remember
That
Star Swipe
really
from The
be doing.
Simpsons? The Simpsons dating app was Star Swipe.
Oh
You don't
God,
remember
I don't.
that. All right, girl. Let's move on to helping some people with some action points.
Hmm.
So if you're a family member of someone who's bipolar, or maybe just has a mental illness or is declining in some way, give me one or two tips that can help the family member help them,
So
or
I think you have,
help the
so
family
a
member.
couple of things. A couple of things come to my mind like immediately. Like first and foremost is this always be supportive. Like always be as supportive as you possibly can, even if you're far away. And even if even if the person doesn't respond to you or shuts you out, like don't stop doing that, because you never know.
Yeah, don't give up.
You never know what, someone's follow through could be, and that you don't want to have that type of, feelings on you. And the other thing is,
when you say that, you mean suicide attempts, you mean like
ideation. And
yeah.
here's the thing about suicidal ideations is like if they happen, it's the act that, you can't obviously stop the act, but if you sometimes all it takes is a call and maybe it will change someone's mind. Like you just don't stop supporting. Like I can't stress that enough.
Yeah.
You
Well,
just
you never gave up on me.
Well, and I still won't.
Cry, and you still don't.
Cry, boo.
I know. I moved my tissues from my little broadcasting space. So, yeah, I know you never gave up on me, and I think one of the things about Patty is Kenna is that she doesn't take no bullshit. And if I hang up,
that was my second follow up. So, and that is about boundaries. So you still you're not anyone's dumping ground. So you have to make sure you establish boundaries. And I was always big with Anne about accountability. And I would call her on her shit and say, like, you can't say that to me.
Yeah.
And here's why it hurts me when you say that. So I statements, this upsets me because when you do this, I feel this. And, that's huge, I think, when you love someone or you live with someone who's experiencing mental health issues, is boundaries, I statements, and communication.
I think from my end, it was always hard. It was hard to hear that, get that smack in the face of like, hey, because it brings you back to reality. Whoops, it goes back to reality. And it was like little Eminem for us there. And it was hard. And that was the hard moments. But just because it's hard doesn't mean it's wrong, for someone to.
That's huge. Yeah, I love that. Yeah. It's true though, but that, and sometimes the hardest things that we decide to do or stuff that make us feel are the best things. Like, always use your voice, and people that you love, especially, like you have to be able to tell them what's up. That's the way I see it. So,
well, great, Patty. Thank you, Patty Kenna. So our name is McKenna. So she took Kenna in college.
I just co-opted it.
Rapper name. Yeah. Patty was listening to Public Enemy way back. God. And she used to play the noise. And I was like, wow. So we've always had that influence from Kenna. Well, Pat, I'm not sure you're able to be on the book launch, but let me tell everyone about the book launch. Just a second. Hold on. I got a little ticker here.
I see it down here.
Yeah, I'm going to change it though, because I want to change it so it's not a ticker, but I want it to play as anyway, it's really early in the morning for America, and I'm sorry about that. I think we'll do something else another time, but if you're in Europe or Asia, the book launch is actually 8 to 9 p.m. Singapore time. So that's actually 7 a.m. East Coast America and 6 a.m. Chicago. Not great, but if you so choose and have the time to get online on Tuesday morning, there's the information. Go to aasingapore.com and you could go to the events page, and it's free. And it would be wonderful to have support, and I appreciate you. So and then the book. This is how you buy the book. So hopefully Kenna has hers, and I want to wait to sign it until I see you, because I've got to believe that there's hope that I'm going to get home and see my family again.
Have faith.
But I have some stuff to send you guys. So bipolar, I didn't bring it, but I have the bipolar T-shirts. So Bipolar Phoenix T-shirt.
That's dope. With the logo from the book?
Blew the surprise, but what's that?
With the logo from the book?
From the one in the corner, the pink one that you see here, it's that one.
I love that. I'm pretty
sure it's that one. I think Kieran's got the blue one, but you've got this one. So, anyway. Great. Well, Kenna, thanks so much for being on with me today.
Of course.
And I love you. You're my sister, and you're the best. And you've always been both my sisters and my mom. You guys have always been there for me. Rock it out.
This heart is weird. Oh, here we go. I don't know. You get the idea.
It has wings. All right, honey. Well, I love you, and
Love you too.
I hope I can see you in person soon. Okay.
True that.
Peace.
Peace.
Yeah, she's awesome. I'm trying not to cry, and I don't have my tissues, but that's my sister, and she's quoted in the book Bipolar Phoenix, available on, let's see, where is it? Amazon or Kindle. And there'll be some deals coming towards Christmas. And Kindle, you might get it for free, and the book might have a sale as well. So I hope that you can also maybe join the book launch, which is tomorrow in Singapore time, which is 13 hours ahead of East Coast, 14 hours ahead of Chicago Central, but also 8 hours ahead of London, and I think France. I think that's right. So hopefully you can join me. And thanks as always for listening and watching. And I look forward to seeing you again soon.